good, everyone? Welcome back to the Strong.Sistas YouTube channel.
Today we are going to be going over some fat loss tips beyond diet. So we're talking about an eating experience, we're talking about fat loss tips, helpful tools, and activity. This is part of a fat loss tips series. In a previous video, we talked about what we eat on keto carnivore diet to lose fat. We talked about the worst keto carnivore foods to be eating if you're trying to lose weight or lose fat. And now we are going to talk about additional tips.
And we're sharing all these because we are still in our cut, so we are actively using all of these tips and principles to achieve some fat loss.
So it's relevant right now. So a lot of these are backed by science, these tips. Otherwise, they're just our experience and our opinion. So hopefully they help you if you have been stalled in your own fat loss or weight loss journey. So we don't lose anything out, I have a handy dandy list again here. So we're gonna be going over a bunch of different points. We actually have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things listed. So make sure you stay tuned for all 11 for the most tips possible.
So the first topic we're gonna cover is eating experience, and we've got 6 tips for this. All right, so the first tip, kind of strange, but food temperature. So consider the food temperature. So gonna give an example. So we consume bone broth every single day, and we like to keep our bone broth cold because we eat it slower that way. If I had a hot cup of bone broth, I would slurp that down so quickly, whereas for like the cold meat jello, I go spoon by spoon, and it's a much slower eating experience. So therefore at the end of that meal, I'm a little bit more satisfied.
I agree.
So I think it's just important to consider if you have a really high SMANG rate with certain food temperatures, keep that in mind.
Yes, you don't want your SMANG rate to be too high because you will soon forget that you just ate your meal.
Yes.
We should review what SMANG rate is.
Okay, so there's like sming, smang, smung. So there's a few verb tenses. So sminging, you're actively sminging.
Yep.
Smang is like, wow, I just, like that. Oh wait, no, I did
that wrong. Sming. Oh wow, it's been a while since we've addressed
Future,
this.
present, past.
Okay,
there we go.
Sming is you're gonna sming it, so that's talking about the future.
tense.
Smang is you're currently smanging it, so you're currently
in the process of
inhaling that food. Smung is, yo, I smung that.
And this is important when you are dieting because you're eating lower calories, and so you want to be able to, like, your mind is an important part of being successful in a fat loss phase.
Absolutely.
And so if you just smung your food, you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so hungry, like that just went so quickly. So we like to try to eat a little bit slower.
Piggyback off of this, we're bringing up point number 2, which is to eat your calories, not drink them. So just like she was saying with the bone broth, that's why we like the cold, wiggly jiggly bone broth, because we actually get to eat it as opposed to just inhaling it. And this applies to other things like putting a bunch of calories into your coffee or other drinks. I just prefer to eat.
Yeah, and
we review this more in our other video.
But I think it's something to consider. If your calories are low, you could have, if you are someone that includes coffee on a keto or carnivore diet, totally fine. We personally do not because we don't need it. But if you're doing like a bulletproof coffee, you're putting a lot of calories into your coffee, you could separate those and have your coffee, which is like 0 calories, and then keep your food calories to your PLATTAs.
Personal preferences.
Yeah.
Number 3, piggyback off that again, to slow your SMANG rate,
chopsticks. So you don't have to use chopsticks, but I do think that to slow your eating experience down, it's important to like really cut your food into small bites and consume your food. That'll help you consume your food a little bit slower. That is why we like to use chopsticks. It's an obstacle for us during eating, so it again makes it a little bit, it takes us a little bit longer to go through our PLATTAs if we have to pick up our food chopstick by chopstick. And we have these adorable little, I know they have the trainers on them, but like, it's just so cute, right?
Oh yeah, so
we got these on Amazon.
Our chopsticks are a reminder to slow down, enjoy your food, and chew through it, which ultimately is going to help you with your digestion too.
Yeah.
Next point is to keep your fats and your proteins separate. So on a keto or carnivore diet, your main macronutrients you're eating are fats and protein. So what this could look like is instead of having some super fatty cut of meat like a ribeye or chuck or a pork something with a lot of fat on it, you could potentially separate those food items so it's 2 different things to consume on your plate. So like having a raw egg yolk as your main source of fat, and then having a sirloin steak as your main source of protein.
And again, this goes back to like the mental side of the cut. There is nothing wrong with eating a chuck steak and a ribeye, but if you look down at a plate and there's only 1 food item versus like having a few other food items, I think that that plays a little bit of a psychological role of like, wow, this plate is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So looking down at a plate, if you have just like a cut of chuck steak versus if you have like a little mound of a little bit of raw beef suet and then like a lean steak, that could help your mentality. And we did that a lot in the past with our clients, and they said that that definitely helped. And we personally like to do that too on days where we're like, wow, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I foresee these tips, these initial tips, being more helpful for somebody who's really an experienced eater. So you really enjoy your meals and they're a big part of your day, because this will prolong them and provide more enjoyment as you're eating.
Yeah.
So final tip under eating experience is volume. We talked about this a little bit in the other fat loss tips videos. You don't want to prioritize volume. What we mean by volume is the sheer amount of food on your plate.
The amount of food on your plate relative to the calories.
Yes. So if you are having a really hangry day, you could try to increase the volume on your plate by choosing more macro-friendly items. One of our favorite items that's pretty macro-friendly and carnivore is protein ice cream. So this helps us in 2 different ways. It is a sweet tooth fix. We don't really have a sweet tooth anymore, but sometimes I really do enjoy eating something sweeter. And it is very macro friendly and high volume. So I will link below in the description our carnivore protein ice cream recipe.
And so it's a low calorie option with a lot of food volume, so it will fill you up. The reason that we're gonna incorporate this today is because yesterday we both finished our meals and we're like, wow, I am hungry. And so today I'm feeling like having some volume. Some days I like to feel the fullness, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do too. Like I like to smang it. Smingity, smangity, smung it. But that said, you cannot just prioritize volume and not pay attention to micronutrients. Always prioritize micronutrients first. So making sure the food you're eating is nutrient dense. That is the main priority, and that's why keto and carnivore are honestly so wonderful, because you are eating a lot of healthy fats, very nutrient dense meats. So that brings us to
the next topic,
number 2, which are useful tools.
So the first useful tool is sparkling water. This is something that we definitely incorporate
daily,
every single day.
On the daily.
Because it really helps you get rid of those hunger signals. So like in between meals, let's say your stomach rumbles, having a little bit of sparkling water may help get rid of those, and you can move on with your day. That personally is something that helps us.
So hearing her say this, I really want to emphasize more and more that this is not a way to live.
No, this is not optimal.
These are tips for people who are really struggling with, if they're still needing to lose fat and they're struggling with binging and eating more food and not being satisfied after their meals. So that said, sparkling water is a great useful tool within a diet because the carbonation will fill up your stomach. Do not consume this around your meals though, because it may impair your digestion, which could lead to just overall feeling really bloated and poopy.
Yeah.
So sparkling water
will come with the bloat though.
Yeah, it fills up your tummy. And honestly, we love sparkling water. It's tasty. Number 2 is fat cycling. So stay tuned for a future video within this fat loss series where we go over keto carnivore diet macros and how to determine those for yourself. But as a whole, you want to give them a little brief overview?
Yeah, so fat cycling is a very useful tool, especially for us females with our hormones. So what we mean by this is going through periods of time where you increase or decrease your fat macronutrients. So when we're on a carnivore diet, our main source of fuel is fat. Fat can be used as a useful tool lever to increase or decrease our calories, because fat is ultimately calorically dense, 9 calories per fat gram versus 4 calories per gram of protein. If your goal is to lose fat, you ultimately have to be in a caloric deficit, and so decreasing the amount of fat that you're consuming is a useful tool. However, being at a moderately low fat macro for an extended period of time for someone who is already relatively lean like ourselves, that can cause some issues. And so that's where these fat cycling days come in, and you cycle those in maybe 1 time a week at the start of your cut. And as you get deeper and deeper, those fat cycling days get incorporated more and more, and it's to balance out your hormones, balance out any hangry symptoms or anything that you're dealing with as a result of being in a caloric deficit.
Okay, moving on to the 3rd category, activity levels.
So everyone says, you know, abs are made in the kitchen, and that is true. You really can't outwork a bad diet, but we really think that exercise and activity is a really important part of a fat loss phase, and it's going to make your fat loss phase easier. So why not include it, and you'll be healthier at the end.
Oh yeah, activity, just like every other thing we brought up, is just a helpful tool.
Yes.
So that said, there's 3 different points within this category. The first one, you can probably already guess, is to lift some weights. Build those muscles. So ultimately, having more lean tissue mass on your body is incredibly great for your metabolism. It will speed up your metabolism. You'll burn through calories more. And if you are one of those people who's always like, oh no, I just want to tone. I just want to look toned. I just want to have some toned muscles. That will not come simply by losing fat and doing toning things. You have to build the muscle first. When you see somebody with a good figure or shape, they've built those muscles and then they've lost the fat. So do not be afraid to lift weights. You don't have to go balls to the walls super heavy, but challenge yourself and find a routine that works for you. So you do not have to go into the gym and lift a bunch of weights there. You could do body weight things outside. So long as you're putting some sort of stress on your muscles to help build them, that is key.
Plus, another reason to add working out and strength training into your program is the more muscle that you have, lean tissue that you have on your body will burn more calories just sitting down in place than it will without muscle. And like, that's going to make your fat loss phase easier because your body will be burning more calories.
Yeah, you would. You become
if you're someone that likes to eat as much as we do, you can essentially, the more muscle that you have on your body, the more you can eat. And like, I'm down for that. Sign me up.
I'm always down for that. Yes.
Okay.
Number 2, and this is relatively new in our lives as well, and it is Zone 2 cardio.
So if fat loss is one of your goals, I personally do not think that weight training, strength training is enough. Adding some form of cardio is important. And the reason that we like to incorporate what's called Zone 2 cardio is because it targets like fat burning. And so essentially Zone 2 is the maximum amount of like activity you can do while maintaining a conversation with someone. So it's like a slightly elevated heart rate. And the amount of activity that requires you to reach that heart rate is going to vary person to person. So
on your fitness.
Yeah, it's going to depend on your fitness. So the goal with Zone 2 cardio is to keep your heart rate in a target zone. And this is going to encourage your body to burn more fat. This is something that is new to us that we've incorporated. So we'll definitely be sharing it more and more as we incorporate it into our fat loss phase. But
if you are intimidated by cardio, do not stress. We are not referring to like running for a long period of time or doing like high intense HIIT exercises, which have a place. They're not something we prioritize right now. Zone 2 is, for us, just for an example, is a mix of light jogging and then some walking. Light jogging and some walking.
So switching off to keep our heart rate in that target zone. So for example, we start out with a light jog, we reach like a heart rate and we're like, okay, we gotta do a fast-paced mom walk now. And then we're in the fast-paced mom walk and our heart rate kind of lowers. So then we're like, okay, we gotta jog a little bit more.
We have become those fast-paced mom walkers.
But honestly, it's been really enjoyable and
it's very therapeutic. If you're interested in Zone 2 cardio, we'll link a podcast by Peter Attia.
Yeah.
Which is very helpful information about that.
One more thing. Another reason why we do Zone 2 cardio is it's not very stressful on the joints, so it doesn't interfere with our strength training. If we were to incorporate a ton of HIIT cardio, that's really taxing on your joints and it is going to affect your strength training performance. And I would rather keep my deadlift strength up while I'm working out because that'll allow me to retain and keep more muscle during my fat loss phase. I don't want my cardio to interfere with my strength training. All right.
I think that's where bio-individuality comes into it though, because some people may prefer to do a HIIT exercise, which is gonna get some cardio in and some sort of muscle stimulus. So if that's you, more power to you. These are just our tips.
We are strength training and Zone 2 type of gals.
And Zone 2 relates to our third point, which is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this encompasses all the movements that you make throughout the day, like
any sort of moving. So this is very, very important because as you consume less and less calories, your body is going to adapt to that caloric intake. So for example, when she was cutting for her bikini competition.
If I was in a diet right now and my body was like, yo, I'm tired, I would just start leaning on things.
So your body is going to naturally move less to adjust to those calories. Our bodies are incredibly smart. So we like to encourage people to keep up with their NEAT cardio to keep your body on its toes, keep your metabolism faster.
The easiest way to do this is to just track your steps.
Yeah.
So set a daily step goal. Say start, if you don't walk a lot right now, start low. Start at 8,000 so you can hit those steps every day. We use our little Garmin watches, but you can use a Fitbit, or your phone even can track these steps. And then if you see your progress stall, that's where you could start considering to ramp up your NEAT. So aim for 10,000 steps, aim for 12,000 steps. It's just one of those levers you can pull.
And again, to summarize this, so fat loss, it's not the only thing, but fat loss is going to depend on your caloric intake and the amount of calories that your body is burning versus the amount of calories that you're consuming. If you can keep your NEAT level, so your step count, at a constant level, then you can consistently make your body burn the same amount of calories.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to you will have to continuously lower your calories, but it won't be as fast of a pace.
That hits every single point on this list. I want to just bring up one more thing, is that we've heard so many times that keto and carnivore calories don't matter, and I think that's stemming from the benefits that do come with being on a keto carnivore diet, like reduced inflammation, or maybe you're more satisfied from eating a higher fat diet. Those are all, again, tools that help with losing fat. But I would say that calories do still matter, and a great example of this is we've both gained weight going to carnivore because we've intentionally raised our calorie amount to gain weight, and then now we're intentionally lowering it, which allows us to lose weight. So again, weight loss, fat loss is not everything, but it can help you achieve a healthier state in your body. And if you have extra fat or weight to lose and you're struggling, hopefully these tips will help you.
Yes, but now it is time to get a B cubed lift in, so back, booty, and biceps in our garage gym, as our local gym is closed
due to the quarantine. I've really been enjoying these at-home workouts, by the way.
Yeah, it's been
I think
fun.
we may be switching to them.
Yeah,
so.
it's really fun hanging out with our dogs.
It's just a great example of you have to find what you actually enjoy so it's sustainable.
Yeah.
So if you don't like going to the gym and you're like, oh, you mentioned I have to lift weights, I just can't do it. You don't have to go to the gym.
On hikes. Buy rock climb.
Buy a band and do some of these exercises that we're about to do. So we'll show you what they look like.
We are committed to this fat loss phase, so we gotta do it. So ponies up high, get your workout partner going, bundle up because it's like 30 degrees outside, time to do some zone 2 cardio. You just witnessed
zone 2 cardio.
For us.
For us. I look like Ricky Balboa out there, getting my cardio in. Now approaching platter number 2, all lined up. What do we have on these plates?
So we got 3 plates, part of platter number 2. Again, we just make our second meal bigger than our first. It's just our preference and what works for us. So first we have a plate of sunny side up chicken boobs. So we like to see, look at the wiggle jiggle. We like to keep them yolks. Wow, it's beautiful. Yolks raw and the egg whites thin and cooked. Then on plate number 2, so bringing up a few things that we discussed earlier. So we have a lot of lean protein options, so that way we can also include some suet on our plate, so that way we have more elements.
So separated the protein and the fat.
Gus is doing a cleaning for us.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
I think he just is licking this.
Good.
Okay.
All right, back to focus.
So here we have some beef tenderloin tips and tails. So if you think about like a tenderloin cut, it's like a circle, but the muscle doesn't actually look like that. So these are the tips and tail pieces from around that, and White Oak Pasture sells these. So you're basically getting like a filet mignon, buttery, super tender cut for $12.99 a pound. Excellent.
Yeah,
Would
so
recommend.
because they're not the perfect fillet shape, they're sold at a discount.
So that's relatively lean cut. Next we move to beef liver, lightly seared on both sides. Then we've got some beef heart, lightly seared on both sides, and these are actually both lean cuts as well, higher protein. Then we have a vitamin C burger, so we'll be posting a recipe for how we make this. There's actually 23 milligrams of vitamin C in this burger. So
stay tuned.
These 3, micronutrient density at its finest. And then a side of raw beef suet. So again, that's adding another element to the plate.
And finally,
feeling like getting a little, like feeling the fullness tonight. So this is a volume-friendly, macro-friendly option. So this is a full carnivore diet protein ice cream, and we just filmed a recipe video for this as well, link in the description below. So as a comparison, the macros and calories for this entire bowl, which is like large,
when we have big heads,
is the same as half of this steak. Now, there's a lot more nutrients in this steak. We have not had this in months, so this is something that we enjoy on occasion. I would not recommend making this like your main priority. With that,
let's eat, yo! So hopefully this video was helpful in providing you some additional tips for your fat loss or weight loss journey.
and we'll be sharing more throughout our fat loss journey as well. But until our next video, guys,
Behave like an angel.